Unfortunately, the one world, one dream, and the biggest theme of the Tribal Wizard Tournament is one world, one dream, international cooperation. But unfortunately, the one world, one dream of the ideal of the Tribal Wizard Tournament was hijacked, was taken by Lord Voldemort, who used the symbolic nature of the tournament as a vehicle to rise greater and more terrible than ever before. Tragically, in our world, oh, my voice is getting better as I speak, this is cool. The one world, one dream ideal of the 2008 Olympics is being hijacked by the Chinese government, who are using the symbolism of the tournament as a vehicle to gain money and prestige, which is fine, but they're doing it while continuing practices, while continuing practices that are creating one world with many nightmares. Now, before I go any further, I just want to make 3 points. One, in no way am I showing disrespect to the Chinese people and the beauty and richness of their history and culture. Two, I make no claim that any government is free from fault. And three, we are not boycotting the Olympics. We just want to bring out the true spirit of one world, one dream today. Are you ready to do that? Many people don't realize that the Chinese government's hunger for oil is allowing them to fund and supply with money and weapons the genocide in Darfur. The people that are being killed in Darfur are being killed with weapons that are being supplied by the Chinese government. And the junta military dictatorship in Burma, which, as we watch the atrocities continue in Darfur, and the junta in Burma steal and deny emergency aid that could go to prevent the needless deaths of hundreds of thousands of Burmese citizens, the Chinese government continues to use its influence on the UN Security Council as Lucius Malfoy used his influence in the ministry, blocking the most important legislation that could save the lives of at least tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in Darfur and Burma. Sorry to be so heavy. We're going to rock out soon. This is not to mention the constant persecution, imprisonment, and torture of the Chinese people by their own government, or of course, of their continual cultural genocide in Tibet, where they have killed countless Tibetans, repressed sacred religious practices, and brainwashed the Chinese people that the Dalai Lama is a dangerous, undesirable number one. But the Dalai Lama embodies the serenity, wisdom, and compassion of Albus Dumbledore. He is an Albus Dumbledore for the real world who continues to remind us to practice kindness and compassion, reminding us that even in dark and difficult times, where the Chinese government is getting away with funding unspeakable atrocities, that we, the Dumbledore's army for the real world, can still plant the seeds for one world, one dream. And that's why the Harry Potter Alliance is asking each of you to throw a little Tri-Wizard Tournament house party to take back the real spirit of one world, one dream, and bring it to our lives, our communities, and even though they may seem far away, we are in a very small world at this point, the people of Darfur, Burma, Tibet, and China. And that's why the Harry Potter Alliance, in the style of the Tri-Wizard Tournament, is designing 3 tasks at each house party. You don't need to do all 3, but think about these. These are really cool. Overcoming the dragon. Our first task will involve playing to our strengths. Akio Boom. Akio Hot Guy. That will allow us to get... Whoa, Hot Guy! I'm sorry. That will allow us to get past the fierce dragons that are blocking a world without genocide. World leaders and corporate sponsors of the Olympics who are unwilling to publicly criticize China for funding human rights violations, bureaucracy in the UN, inadequate media coverage of these issues, and of course China's complacency with human rights violations. So the first task, the dragon, is all the political stuff, political action, all that stuff. The second task, we dive into the lake and we actually help people. Our second task will involve dive into the depths of human rights crises where people like you and I living in Burma, Darfur, Tibet, China are tied up and proclaiming that we will continue to speak for those whose voices have been gagged until we can all come to the surface together, much like Harry. And we're going to do that through helping, sending aid to refugees, getting UN security forces in Darfur, etc. The third task, and this is really unusual, oftentimes you'll go to an activist meeting and they'll talk about people far away and want to help them. We oftentimes get burnt out as activists because it's so heartbreaking. It's really difficult. Now, what was the third task? Navigating the what? Maze. Every day in our lives, we're navigating a maze of our internal selves, of who we are. When we begin to break into the most egregious human rights violations in the world, it can hurt, or it could. The heart may freeze, or it can burn. Okay, so I just love musicals. All right. We want to navigate the maze of our internal selves and do exercises much like the one we did today in the meeting that we had, for those that were there, to build compassion and warmth and inner resources to motivate each other to continue on this fight. Because you know what? We want to end genocide. We want peace in this world. We're going to do it every little step of the way, with every magical act of kindness, with every dragon that we get through. But it's going to take a long time. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a triathlon. It's a tri-wizard tournament in and of itself. So we've got to navigate the maze of ourselves and not get burned out and not lose hope in humanity, but gain hope in humanity. Look around you. Look again to the people standing next to you. Turn around. The world needs more people like the person you're looking at. So we want you to throw these house parties. Email me, Andrew, at thehpalliance.org. And I will connect you to our staff that are going to help organize these house parties. If you are interested in helping to coordinate house parties all around the world, maybe in like 18 countries, maybe in 5 continents, please do it. And you know what? The media, which never reports on stuff, reports on Harry Potter all the time, so the Harry Potter Alliance always gets this crap into the media. It's amazing. So, in conclusion for this, while the world may be letting China hijack the one world, one dream ideal of the Olympics, just as Voldemort hijacked the one world, one dream ideal of the Tri-Wizard Tournament, we will stand true to this ideal. We are taking the Tri-Wizard Tournament back from the government of China, and we are taking it back from Lord Voldemort. We will allow the love of Dumbledore, the Dalai Lama, and Burma's, I'm so sorry, Brian, are you here? How do you pronounce the name? No, the woman, the Nobel Peace Prize laureate. I can't pronounce her name, Aung San Suu Kyi, I'm sorry, but she's the only person that's won a Nobel Peace Prize that's imprisoned in Burma. And her love, and the Dalai Lama's love, and Dumbledore's love enter our hearts, and together we will do what we can to plant the seeds for one world where we can achieve a dream that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., one of the greatest orators ever to live, proclaimed would finally allow all oppressed people to sing out with joy, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. And so, though my voice is hoarse, the voice of this alliance is not going to be hoarse. We're going to get louder, and tonight we're going to celebrate, because this is more than us in this amazing lodge. We are making change throughout the world. We've already done it, and we're going to do it. Please throw these house parties. Please start chapters. I'm going to close out with a speech before our final act, where these real evil bastards that I don't want to talk about. But without further ado, I want to call Danny up to begin the last leg of rocking out. We're going to carry it on, because you know what? Wrockstock begins when you leave.